Well, it is officially summer, and with summer comes growing lawns, and then comes the neighborhood livability bylaw. It outlines the minimum standards for maintaining the plants on your property, and that includes grass. Under this bylaw, turf grass on a property's lawn has to be no longer than 6 inches. The city's complaint-based grass enforcement program means that residents have 7 to 10 days after a warning to comply and cut it, or the city will come and cut the grass. Then they add the labor cost directly to your property tax. Wayne Moody is my next guest. He's a resident of East Elmwood. He lives over on Talbot, and he received a notice of non-compliance on June 11th for grass he said that had already been cut. And then he was confused because a city worker showed up and was cutting in his grass on his property. He's here to walk us through what went on here. And a lot of people are talking about this bylaw. 'Tis the time of year. Hi there, Wayne.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. Okay, so let's walk through this. So you had grass in the front. Is it the front that was getting a little long?
According to the city, when I spoke to her over my two-way camera in the back, when they were in the backyard, she said there was some patches on the boulevard that were too high.
Okay, so your front lawn, the initial complaint was, or that launched them coming and saying you have a problem here, was for patches on your boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your front lawn was okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd actually cut all of it on the 27th of May.
Okay, we got to go right from the beginning so listeners can get the timeline. So it's a bit long. Someone complains. They show up and say, did you get it in the mail?
I got an envelope in my mailbox with the compliance order on it. I received that either the 11th or the 12th of June. Said it had to be cut by the 14th of June. But
So what did you do after that?
I'd already cut it like the week before, and I went out and looked at it, and it wasn't over 6 inches. It was probably about that high. Well, that's about 2 or 3 inches.
Got it. Yeah, you're showing us
So
your
I
fingers.
just ignored it.
Okay. And so then after that, what happened?
On the 17th, I got a notice in another notice in my mailbox saying that they're going to do an inspection and remediate it on the 18th.
Okay.
So I called them, got no answer. I phoned them, I've emailed them. I've got no response from either.
Yeah.
On the 18th, my alarm system went off because they were in my backyard. I don't know why they were in my backyard when they're complaining about the boulevard to start off with.
What were they doing in your backyard?
Cutting the grass. That was about 1.5 inches long.
So listen, you have a house like most people that have homes in Winnipeg. You've got a front yard that I'm guessing is public view.
Yep.
The boulevard's public view.
Yeah.
Is your backyard fenced or is
Yes,
it?
it's fenced, and the fence you can't open it from the outside unless you climb up over the top of it, reach down, and grab the latch on the inside.
So what'd you think when someone's back there cutting your grass?
Well, I couldn't understand why they were in the back there doing it, being that this complaint was supposedly of the front boulevard. And it had all been cut already. So I spoke to the lady over the camera, which doesn't get recorded, unfortunately, on my camera. And she said, oh, yeah, there was a few high patches on the boulevard. So I asked her, well, why are you in my backyard cutting the grass then? And she just walked away.
Okay. So have you been charged for this?
I haven't received anything since they were there.
So there's a $250 administration fee.
That's if you want to put in a appeal for it.
Got it. So if you actually want to take this and say, hey, what were you doing in my backyard? And by the way, my front yard was cut after you guys, the order came out. It was already short enough. Are you going to appeal this?
I can't because I'm past the deadline for it already. The deadline is the date of compliance. And it says right on the compliance order, if it's not submitted with $250 administration fee, they won't even look at it after that, like if it's late.
So you're stuck with $250 because you can't appeal. Are you also stuck with the labor fee that's going to be on the property taxes because of the
I'm going
cutting?
to end up paying for that plus an administration fee, it says.
So how do you feel the city should be handling all of this? Because I understand you're not actually against the grass cutting bylaw.
No, I'm not against the bylaw at all, but if it's not unsightly, why are you doing it? You can drive up and down the street that I'm on, the next street over, and there's grass that's like 2-3 times the height of that's on my house. But it seems like they're almost singling certain people out.
I think it's based on our reporting. It's based on a complaint system. So if you don't know who complains, but somebody has had complaint. How do you feel about that? Do you think that they should be assessing it themselves, or how do you feel about it being based on random complaints, I guess?
I have no problems with people complaining, like if it's unsightly. But when you can obviously see by the pictures I provided you, it's not really even unsightly.
I wonder if we have those photos. They've been going up actually throughout the interview. Yeah, you're watching them on our monitors here because we're on YouTube, of course, while we're live on the radio. So there you are. So that's after you had cut the grass already.
I think so,
Yeah. Yeah, this is not, just so people can imagine, like if you're imagining really overgrown up to sort of the bottom of the windowsills in a bungalow, that's not the case here. You can even see some of your vegetation, your flower bed is above the grass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like it just doesn't make sense to me why they're picking on something like, if they came before the 27th of May and inspected it, yes, I can understand it because there were dandelions growing.
You had some stuff going on.
But it was cut on the 27th,
so they should have taken note of that. That's
exactly.
Logically.
And I cannot see it growing 6 inches in like a week.
What prompted you to cut it? Like, when did you cut? What prompted you to make that first cut?
When I looked at it and said, "Holy mackerel, this is getting long. I better get rid of it."
Just last, what are you going to do from here? I mean,
I don't think I have any recourse. I was going to phone the city councillor, but unfortunately mine passed away because
Shires.
Yeah.
It was your area.
And it's vacant now, so I have no contact through that way.
Well, we'll follow up and see what happens, Wayne. Thank you very much for walking us through the details of your story.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know where else to go, actually, because like I said, I'm between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, and stuck with some fines here.
Exactly.
Wayne Moody is a resident of East Elmwood, so we did reach out to the city of Winnipeg for a response. They were unable to provide details on this particular property. They're reviewing the case, though, they said, so perhaps we'll have some update. Right now, though, they did send this reply, quote, generally speaking, so not to Wayne's case, but generally speaking, a bylaw enforcement officer would review a property between a time a complaint's received and issuing the non-compliance order. There would need to be evidence of a bylaw infraction at the time of infection for the order to be issued. The date shown on the order would typically be the date of inspection, end quote. But again, the story, I guess, brings up some questions about where's the room for logic in that if the grass was cut in the meantime. So we'll find out as we go forward. How are you doing with those new city bylaws out there in the complaint system, compliance system? Love to hear.